In another session where we tend to bring you what's making headlines, a very good evening to you. My name is Patricia Lukoma Mpango. Dorothy Namyomba is already with us there on sign language. But first though, the top stories.
The news headlines are brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date. The news headlines are brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date with your regulated financial institution. Customer deposits are protected up to 10 million Ugandan shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
To answer. Parliament passes Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026 into law. Fuel scarcity triggers price surge in Kisoro. And lastly,
brought to you by the Deposit Protection.
And into the news, Africa's leaders are being challenged to turn domestic capital into real investment in infrastructure and industry. The issue dominated discussion at the Africa We Build Summit in Nairobi, organized by the Africa Finance Corporation and attended by President Yoweri Museveni and his Kenyan counterpart, William Ruto. Samuel Senono has more.
President Museveni was among the African leaders and investors who today gathered in Nairobi for the inaugural Africa We Build Summit, focused on unlocking domestic capital and turning infrastructure plans into bankable projects and jobs. The two-day meeting, hosted by the Africa Finance Corporation in partnership with the government of Kenya, brought together decision-makers to drive regional integration and industrial growth under the theme, Infrastructure as the Engine of Industrialization. Addressing the summit, Museveni said Africa's challenge is not lack of money, but ideology.
But I think if we only focus on infrastructure alone, we may not go far. Because there are wars. There are wars in Congo, there are wars in South Sudan, there are wars in all these different places, Somalia. So how will you have infrastructure if people are fighting for wrong reasons?
He said the continent remains held back by fragmented markets, low value addition, and weak infrastructure. On Uganda's oil sector, Museveni said claims that refineries do not make money were misleading, maintaining that refining locally is key to retaining value.
Refineries don't make money. Hey, they don't make money. How about the ones who build them? Why do they build them? Then when I checked, the refinery in Uganda actually is very, very profitable.
He also reaffirmed Uganda's ban on exporting unprocessed minerals.
I have banned the export of unprocessed minerals. All of them, I have banned them.
I must really thank President of Uganda for taking this bold move. Stopping the export, they will be forced, they will come and produce. Why do you want to take the raw material, then you bring it back?
On his part, Kenya's President William Ruto backed Uganda's position, saying President Museveni rejected pressure to take easier options on oil.
I want to thank President Museveni for refusing to accept easy choices. He had a choice. He had a choice to allow the oil in Uganda to go the way others would have wanted. But I remember having a conversation with President Museveni, and allow me, Mzee, to say this. When I visited him once, and I asked him, Mzee, what's going to happen about reserves that you have because it's taken time. And I remember Mzee telling me, look, young man, then I wasn't even president. He told me, you see, some of these people you see here, if we give them a chance, they will sell this oil at a throwaway price and go and buy perfume.
Ruto said Kenya will invest in Uganda's refinery, building on Uganda's earlier investment in the Kenyan pipeline.
President Museveni called me and said, I want to buy 50% of Kenya pipeline. And he told me, I don't care the price. You know, that's how serious he was. When some other pessimists in Kenya were saying, oh, you know, the price is very high, I don't know. You know, President Museveni could see beyond the price. He could see the opportunity of transforming our nation, our region together. Mzee, I want to assure you that the same way you invested in Kenya Pipeline, Kenya is going to invest in your refinery and in the future of our resources together.
During a panel discussion, Nigerian industrialist Aliko Dangote pledged support to build a similar refinery in East Africa.
But my commitment today here is that if we agree with the 3-4 governments here about the refinery, we will lead and we'll make sure that that refinery is built within the next 4 or 5 years.
A new infrastructure report released at the summit shows that Africa has over $2 trillion in domestic capital, but much of it remains in short-term investments.
Now, the prosecution has concluded presenting its witnesses in the trial of Christopher Okello Onyum, a key suspect in the murder of toddlers at Gaba Ali Childhood Center. The court has ruled that a prima facie case has been established, meaning the accused has a case to answer. However, Okello has yet to present his defense, requesting more time to prepare. The hearing has been adjourned to 24th April 2026. Ivan Kahawa reports.
The High Court sitting in Gaba has entered day 8 of the trial of the prime suspect in the Gaba Ali Childhood Center murder case, Christopher Okello Onyum. During proceedings, presiding Judge Justice Alice Komahanji granted Okello 2 breaks to consult with his lawyers as preparations for his defense got underway.
I have observed the accused person as the witnesses were giving evidence, and I'm satisfied that he was accurately and keenly following the proceedings. When this case broke off to allow him to consult his lawyers regarding the option for his defense, they returned and informed the court that he needs the court recordings and more time.
Upon return, Okello informed the court that he would decide on Monday the type of witnesses he intends to call. He stated that while he has potential witnesses in mind, he is uncertain whether he can provide their full details.
Let me hear from you. Give me the names.
Full names I don't have, my lord, for all the witnesses.
Okello further revealed that the contact information for these witnesses is stored in his mobile phones, which are currently held in court as exhibits in the ongoing trial. The court subsequently allowed him access to the devices enabling him to retrieve and record the necessary details.
I will not mention the names, but he's given us the names of the 4 witnesses he intends to call and their telephone contacts. However, I note that the accused has not provided the physical addresses of the named witnesses, so the registrar of this court will use the telephone numbers that the accused person has availed to reach out to these witnesses so that they are able to come and give evidence.
Okello, however, informed court that he was prepared for cross-examination after he had earlier indicated his readiness to present his defense. Justice Komahanji later granted Okello an additional 1 hour on top of the earlier time to prepare his defense. Upon return, Okello stated that he was still not ready to proceed and requested the court to avail him the funds once again, but the request was declined.
My Lord, I pray that God grant me to look at my phone another time.
To look at your phone, but
Yes.
we gave you the phone and you scrolled through it.
My Lord, this time we are going to use the internet to download the rest of the information that we need, that we can find.
It is an exhibit now, unfortunately I will not give you that. We gave.
Okello has since been remanded to prison and court adjourned to 9 a.m. on 24th April 2026. He is expected to present his defense and call his witnesses when the hearing resumes. Ivan Kahwa, UBC.
The second Deputy Prime Minister, retired General Moses Ali, has received a delegation from Sinai Municipality of Italy who are supporting Adjumani district to improve on its water and sanitation services in the district.
Adjumani district in West Nile is among the areas whose water quality is contaminated, causing diseases among the population.
Most of the sources of the water where they made the analysis is contaminated. That's why we see the rate of malaria infection, the worm infection is too high. And this is where the government should do a lot in order to avoid and to prevent the infection of waterborne diseases. And the technology said this is the cause of the malaria. Because of the dirty water, our people are drinking.
It is against this background that the director of Adjumani Missionaries, who is based in Rome, a Ugandan hailing from Adjumani district in West Nile, Reverend Father Charles Vara Obrejo, sourced good Samaritans from Sinai Municipality in Italy to improve the water and sanitation services in the district.
We really immediately embarked on a project like a water laboratory, because our intention is, my personal intention is in general with the community of Adjumani, the authority. I said our people are suffering from malaria because of that water. Now, how can we treat this malaria and prevent? I said, one, we need laboratory, chemical laboratory for water analysis.
The delegation, led by the mayor, Maria Barbara Posedu, and director of Adjumani Missionaries in Rome, Reverend Father Charles Vara Obrejo, met the second Deputy Prime Minister, retired General Moses Ali.
Tutto quello che farà e potrà fare
to create a mutual collaboration as a mutual benefit for the project. From the project, for all the components of the collaborate to this exchange.
The delegation is in Uganda for the on-spot visit of a water and sanitation project they have set up in Adjumani to assist the people of Adjumani. Through General Moses Ali, the group has built a state-of-art laboratory to test the quality of water consumed by the people in Adjumani and the West Nile region.
I'm happy today I've joined him in welcoming our visitors from Italy, specifically from Sardinian government, with whom we have been collaborating for quite a number of years. A big water laboratory has been built in Adjumani. This is to ensure the water the people are taking is a clean water.
They revealed that more funding is expected to come in to support the people of Adjumani.
The region of Sardinia has submitted the project to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and this is another reason why we should be happy today. The opportunity to create a bigger project is a big amount, around 3 million euros. The component and the sector will be not only agricultural but also the health and the development of local market.
The delegation expressed appreciation to General Moses Ali for his leadership and hospitality, and pledged to continue cooperation between Italy and Uganda in advancing the initiative.
Uganda and Rwanda have signed 4 memoranda of understanding in 4 areas of education, health, agriculture and local government. The move symbolizes a reaffirmation of two countries in exploring new areas of bilateral cooperation. The Ugandan delegation has been led by John Mulimba, Minister for Foreign Affairs in charge of regional cooperation.
The three-day summit for the 12th session of the Uganda-Rwanda Joint Permanent Commission has concluded in Kampala. In attendance were Ministers John Mulimba, General Katumba Wamala, Margaret Muhanga, Helena Doa, Huda Oleru, Okasai Oparot. On Rwanda's side were Dr. Usta Kaitesi, Foreign Affairs State Minister, Justice Minister Dr. Emmanuel Ugirashebuja, Trade Minister Prudence Sabahizi, ambassadors of both countries, the heads of regional cooperation at the two foreign ministries, who include Ambassador Richard Kabonero and Iteta Gesa, and other dignitaries who included permanent secretaries, among others. To further strengthen bilateral ties, Uganda and Rwanda have signed 4 memoranda of understanding in health, education, agriculture, and local government, with clear timelines set for implementation.
Let us carry the message that Uganda and Rwanda relations are not a matter of convenience, but of destiny. Our people expect us to dismantle barriers, not to debate them. I'm confident that by the 13th session, which will be hosted in Rwanda, we shall be reporting on completed actions, not pending issues.
We have reviewed progress achieved, provided strategic direction, and agreed on steps that will further strengthen implementation across our priority sectors. We also decided to expand our areas of cooperation by signing new MOUs on agriculture, education, health, and local government. And we continue to engage in other areas that we think we should enhance such cooperation.
The two countries emphasized continuous collaboration between institutions, cross-border trade, movement of people, and strengthened border security.
This session has registered tangible progress in respect to trade, in respect to border security and management, in respect to agriculture, energy, education, and health.
We have put in place a committee to address the non-tariff barriers, whether it is delays at the customs borders. We are going to enhance the OSBP at Chanika, and the two countries have agreed that Chanika should be a one-stop border post.
The 13th session will be held in Rwanda. Crispus Arinitwe, reporting for UBC.
Now, Parliament has passed an Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026 to give 6 years income tax exemption to Bujagali hydropower project based on the structure of Bujagali Power Agreement, where corporate income tax is retrieved in the electricity tariff. Let's hear more in this report.
The chairperson of the Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Kankunda Amos, presented a report of the Committee on the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2026, the controversial clause to exempt Bujagali hydropower project from remitting income tax for a period of 6 years, prolonged the debate. Government argues that the exemption is to allow the affordability of electricity to Ugandans. From the committee stages, various stakeholders opposed to the move to waive the tax, citing no impact achieved.
If the amendment is rejected, income tax, according to the renegotiation power purchase agreement, shall automatically pass through into a tariff as a cost ranging between 1.8 to 2, and therefore will increase the cost of power.
Mbale Industrial Division MP Karim Masaba sided with the critics as he presented a minority report opposing the exemption.
Proposed extension of Bujagali tax waiver is projected to result in additional revenue loss of 690 billion shillings in the next 6 financial years. Considering that Bujagali will be forgiven about 115 billion shillings per year up to 2032.
For several years, Bujagali Hydropower Dam has benefited from annual income tax exemption. Parliament has often requested for an independent audit into the income and operations of the power plant, but with no clear response.
Bujagali truly is a project to benefit all of us. But many years it has been around. But if you look at the initial people were there, this project changes hands every year in and out. Why? It is one of the profit-making institutions.
We are very passionate about extending the exemption for many reasons, especially our manufacturers, saying that the rate, like I read earlier, Right Honorable Chair, has reduced from 8 cents to 6 cents.
The challenge we have from the minister has been here explaining the impact of tariff if we make this proposal. And the private sector, which appeared before the committee, explained that their worry would be the rise in tariffs.
So, since the Parliament is going to be here, in the unlikely event, let's not go beyond 1 year. So that if they want a full term of 5 years, next year they come, then the other Parliament can deal with them in that 5 years. But
the State Minister for Energy, Okasayo Polot, said the power tariffs have gone down because of the waiver.
Agreement, purchase agreement. Now we start complaining afterwards. It was a raw deal, very bad deal. I'm putting a question that clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Through thick and thin, the House agreed with the government position.
Tariffs have continuously gone down because of the waiver given to this. It has actually reduced to 6.5 as we talk. Removal of this will revert all the gains and will threaten what we are talking about, the tenfold growth in
the House disagreed with the proposal, which provides that when one disposes a non-business asset, the person purchasing it will be required to pay withholding tax of 6% of the gross payment.
From Zeveria, I pay transfer what? Fee. If I buy land from Amos, I pay transfer what? Fee. But how do you come again and say that from that same land, the money I've got, I should pay 6% what? That is the criminality of the highest what?
You should withhold 6%.
You withhold 6%. That is the criminality of the highest what? Highest order.
Law does not provide an exclusion. Supposing someone has land and he sells it to have sort of a medical problem, do you want to tell me that he has gained?
Because at this moment, I cannot easily differentiate between those who are selling for sentimental purposes and selling for business. I want to concede. I will come back next year.
The amendment of pay as you earn, with a proposal to exempt those who earn 350,000 shillings and below from paying tax, was also passed. This was after the increase in the threshold from 150,000 to 350,000 shillings. I'm Nafka Farid and Gloria Guitabinji at Parliament.
Well, thank you both. Now, the Attorney General, Kisoro Chiwanka, has told members of Parliament that the proposed Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026 does not prohibit foreign funding or cross-border transfer of money, but rather intends to regulate foreign funding to safeguard Uganda's sovereignty. This is to prevent interference in government policies and programs by foreign countries.
Widely.
The Parliamentary Joint Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs and the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs has kick-started scrutiny over the Protection of the Sovereignty Bill 2026. The Minister of State for Internal Affairs, David Muhoozi, and the Attorney General, Kisoro Chiwanuka, appeared before the Joint Committee to defend the controversial bill, which has so far attracted high criticism from a section of the public.
This clause prohibits a person or agent of a foreigner from engaging in any activity, soliciting or receiving or obtaining any assistance from a foreigner to sponsor or organize a meeting or any function with the aim of promoting the foreign policy in Uganda that has not been adopted by Cabinet as a government policy.
At a broader level, the bill will streamline how civil society, foreign-funded entities, and other actors engage with government institutions. The intended social consequence is not to prohibit lawful cooperation, but to ensure that such cooperation takes place in a transparent, accountable, and regulated manner that does not undermine the sovereignty of the people of Uganda.
AG Chiwachiwanuka urged the MPs to dwell much on the scope of the activities which the intended legislation seeks to criminalize, including the activities that act on the interests of foreigners. Whoever receives funding to support activities in the interest of foreigners shall be required to register as an agent of foreigners. However, such a person or business shall comply with the criminalized activities.
If a person receives funding from a foreigner and it is meant for these purposes, it is incumbent upon government, if they intend to prosecute that person under this law, to get the evidence to confirm that that person actually brought those funds for that purpose. And if they cannot, then the law will not be held against that person.
You can even receive money from outside Uganda, but for interests of Uganda, that's not a problem. But if you receive money to promote an interest of a foreigner, that's where you have to register.
The definition of a foreigner has been applied to anyone who carries out any activity that the bill criminalizes. However, some MPs remained puzzled.
If we had said agent of a foreigner and left it at that, then everything in the act will just be reading agent of, but we are saying no. For you to call someone an agent of a foreigner, for avoidance of doubt, if you're not clear, they must do these things. If they don't do these things, they are not agents of foreigners for purposes of this act.
The officials were tasked to explain the circumstances that could qualify a Ugandan living abroad to be a foreigner.
We are saying, for example, if a Ugandan citizen has $100,000 and is in America or in Sweden or in another country outside Uganda, and he decides to spend that money to support his local MP in an election, that's not an action of a foreigner. That's him acting for himself. But if that Ugandan had $100,000 and in concert with foreigners said, let us install a particular MPX for purposes of doing this activity, that person becomes an agent of a foreigner.
The Attorney General has clarified the question of duplication of laws, citing that the country has no regulations against the interests of foreigners. This follows the outcry that the existing legal framework could be empowered to accommodate the new proposals.
All the other laws have been regulating, for example, under the Financial Institutions Act and under the Financial Intelligence Authority law. They talk of declaration of funds you have received from outside Uganda, declare the source, but they don't talk about foreign interest.
In the new legislation, the qualified parties registered by the specified department cannot receive more than 400 million shillings without permission from the minister. Some MPs project corruption tendencies, hence raising a red flag. The protection of the Sovereignty Bill 2026 has attracted special attention, moving at a marathon speed, hence raising suspicions. Recently, Parliament collapsed several bills, citing the time factor as the 11th Parliament polishes its operations. If approved, it will be an obligation for every Ugandan to promote the sovereignty of the people of Uganda, and all the activities of the government shall be conducted in such a manner that promotes the interests of Uganda. The protection of the Sovereignty Bill 2026 does not prohibit foreign funding or cross-border transfer of money, but rather intends to regulate foreign funding in order to safeguard what has been described as Uganda's sovereignty. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabingi, UBC News.
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Mama, kabalansi?
Eh?
Nkuwaire 15 ate. Mama, nkuwaire 15.
Ompaire 15.
Abantu abakulu mwatandisa obuyayi mwena.
Obuyayi obuliga.
Iwe.
Ngobi yanko
bacho sente dange ninzade kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
It's back, bigger, and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution, or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone, or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312 206 400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
On his 52nd birthday, General MK invites you for a charity run. The run will be held on 26th April 2026 at the Kololo Ceremonial Grounds starting at 6 a.m. Get yourself a kit using these MTN and Airtel payment platforms. Run for charity, run for hope.
Run for charity, run for hope.
Does science build the economy? At National Science Week 2026, see innovations that transform industries, create jobs, and drive Uganda towards a $500 billion economy. Smart investors, discover what works and where to invest. The event runs from 30th April to 3rd of May 2026 at Kololo Independence Grounds. Free entrance to all. The theme, STI Works, powering Uganda to a $500 billion economy. Don't just watch the future, invest in it. Brought to you by the Science, Technology and Innovation Secretariat, STI, making Uganda the best.
Welcome back from that short break at 33 minutes past 8 o'clock. Patricia Lukoma Mpango, I'm still with you, and Dorothy Namyomba is still with us there on sign language. Now, as we move ahead into the next segment, leaders of traders across different parts of the country say the government has not done enough to provide alternative workspaces for vendors who were evicted from streets, citing dissatisfaction with the way the trade order enforcement is being carried out. Let's hear more in this report.
In February 2026, the Kampala Capital City Authority, together with other stakeholders, began implementing the policy known as trade order, which saw street vendors and those operating in containers removed from city streets. The policy, which started in Kampala, has since spread to other towns, including Mukono, Mubende, Mityana, Masaka among others, with an aim of tidying the city and curbing congestion in urban areas. Despite this, traders continue to express dissatisfaction with the agencies enforcing the policy, especially KCCA, citing harsh methods.
Government why are these people on the streets? Most of these kiosks and stores are owned by government officials.
Government inga tenaba ku implementing a trade order. Musoke mwetereze. Fine abasubuzi mbagamba wano vaawo dawali wano wachafu mwe mukoze mutya.
But the biggest issue was about that there was excessive force and a few practices which were not okay during implementation. So I was able to explain to them that we have already communicated to our officers that among other things they must have a human face and they must give people enough time, they must do a lot of sensitization and awareness so that people appreciate, internalize the program. And
they claim that KCC officials confiscate their merchandise, leaving them stranded without any means to restart their businesses.
Abasuubuzi 16 nga bakwatiddwa awatali musango nga babajje mu katale. Ebintu byabwe byonna ne bitwalibwa. Embeera eri ku gulawundi ya ntemu. Omuntu okumuggyako omulimu w'abadde akeera n'afissa siringi mutwalo kuba bw'atunda ena tolowooza nti gyonna agitwala. Abalinako gutya.
Led by FUTA President John Kabanda, the traders met officials from the Ministry of Local Government and raised several concerns, including alleged corruption among some KCCA enforcement officers.
N'ekino ekintu kye mwakola mukama wange okusooka okugoba abantu nga temusoose kutuwa grace period oba okutusomesa ki-increasinze corruption ebitundu 80 ku buli 100.
Benjamin Kumumanya, the Permanent Secretary Minister of Local Government, acknowledged that although the trade order policy has challenges, it has already improved the state of cities. He added that government is working to build more markets and urged traders to utilize those available, while assuring them that concerns such as corruption will be investigated.
I agreed that it is time and it's important that we should get more markets built, which will help to absorb people. For example, the market we built in Moroto had a lot of spaces unoccupied, but because of the trade order, all the vendors have gone to the market.
Other government stakeholders within this meeting also shared their concerns.
February license twawandiika emyezi ebiri ejaddirira mu Kampala yonna zaali 20,228.
Pulezidenti Museveni yantumye n'abagamba nti byonna ebigenda maaso byonna abimanyi. So n'olwekyo Pulezidenti Museveni yabakabira nga muli ku kkubo n'abazimbira obutale.
Amazima abasuubuzi trade order is compulsory. Okubeerawo enteekateeka ennungi y'obusuubuzi kyabuwaze kyateeka.
Various resolutions were reached during the meeting, and both parties agreed to reconvene in 2 weeks to assess progress and strengthen collaboration in implementing the trade order policy effectively.
Tuwasaba nti mu kaseera kano nga tuli mu reconciliation oba mu kukkiriziganya wakati wa gavumenti naffe ng'abasuubuzi musigale nga mukyali bakakamu.
Rebecca Nantongo for UBC News.
Thank you very much there, Rebecca. And in the area of fuel surge, fuel prices in Kisoro district have surged sharply, with petrol now retailing between 5,800 to 7,000 shillings per litre of petrol and diesel at 5,500 shillings, raising concerns among residents, especially border riders and motorists who are calling on government to intervene and stabilize the situation.
Today, Thursday, at Champs petrol station in Kisoro, A litre of petrol was at 7,000 shillings, while at other petrol stations it was at 5,580 and others at 5,990. The petrol hike has also led to emerging fuel shortages at several stations across the district. Operators attribute the disruption to challenges in global oil supply, noting that business is no longer running normally as customers resist fare increases. Regan Tahira, manager at Cham's petrol station in Kisoro, says the situation has worsened in recent days, with fewer fuel trucks arriving compared to before. He has called on the government to urgently address supply gaps and help stabilize prices. Yiki Isaac, manager Starbucks petrol station Kisoro, highlighted that the scarcity of fuel has led to increase on the daily basis, and some stations have already finished. He says that at Starbucks petrol is at 8,000, while diesel is at 5,500. Tugumisi Reserve Vincent and Kwizera Alan, supervisors of Total and Shell fuel station, confirmed the scarcity of fuel in reserve tanks, saying that they have already exhausted everything.
Even our neighbors at Total, they don't even have. But maybe you are soon waiting, you shall get.
Border operators in Kisoro estimates that about 20% of riders have been forced to abandon their work due to the rising cost of fuel, significantly affecting incomes and daily livelihoods. They threatened to hike prices. Taxi drivers asked the government to caution consumers from further increases, warning that the situation threatens transport services and the broader local economy. They explained that now from Kisoro to Kabale is charged shillings 20,000, which was formerly 15,000 shillings. Meanwhile, Kisoro municipality has 5 main fuel stations, which are Total Fuel Station, Shell, Champs, Starbucks, and Kindly petrol stations. Only 2 were remaining operating as others had finished. Cars and motorcycles were seen scrambling at Champs fuel station, taking full tanks. Champs manager noted that he is also remaining with a few which will not reach tomorrow, in case customers keep coming on the space.
Uganda's Secretary to the Treasury, Dr. Ramadan Gobi, has reiterated the country's tenfold growth strategy to a global audience while at mining and energy opportunities for the Growth and Development Roundtable at the United Kingdom Parliament, House of Lords in London.
The meeting, organized by the Uganda High Commission UK in partnership with the Westminster Africa Business Group and the East African Association, focused on Uganda's economic stability and investment opportunities.
Uganda today stands at an exciting point in its development journey with the leadership of His Excellency President Museveni over the past 40 years. With a stable macroeconomic environment, a young and enterprising population, and a strategic location in Eastern Africa, it is increasingly positioning itself as a gateway to the region. The government's focus on industrialization, value addition, and private sector-led growth continues to create an enabling environment for investors as well as tourists.
Uganda's Secretary to the Treasury, Dr. Ramadan Gobi, assured potential investors of Uganda's strong economic performance, describing it as one of the fastest growing economies globally, with a stable currency and controlled inflation. He highlighted key incentives in sectors such as agriculture and technology, but headlined by mining and energy, while emphasizing government policy on value addition.
Uganda is moving decisively beyond extraction and into value addition. Some of the key projects we are working on include Makutu Rare Earth Project. We are trying to exploit our rare earth elements so that we can supply the world with this critical mineral in the decarbonization agenda, the global decarbonization agenda. We also have the Orom Graphite Project, as well as the historical and historic Chilembe copper cobalt revitalization project. Uganda is transitioning from raw exports, as I said, raw mineral export to industrial ecosystems. Value addition is already underway. There are 9 gold refineries in Uganda now. We have 2 steel production from iron ore, from the stone to steel, the entire chain complete. Fertilizer production from phosphates, but also tin smelting operations.
This meeting acted like a follow-up from a trade and business expedition by UK officials in Uganda last February, from which many are already investing in Uganda.
Very important to businesses, I know that. You can get your money out of Uganda if you so wish to do so. It is a tremendous country. It is going forward apace.
We all want to be positive about Africa where possible. And it's Dr. Gabudi's, what he's saying makes it much, much easier. The determination that, in my view, the right sort of direction, and I wish him every success.
During the roundtable meeting, fears about the proposed sovereignty bill were allayed by Gobi, who clarified that investors with good intentions will never be affected by any law in Uganda. Major infrastructure projects including the East African crude oil pipeline and the standard gauge railway were also presented as key drivers of growth. Uganda will later this year host the UK-Africa Business Summit that will showcase the country's vast abilities and propel partners' transition from interest to commitment in key sectors.
Now, the Ministry of Education and Sports has reaffirmed its commitment to continue renovating infrastructure necessary for the establishment of Busoga University as a public university in the region. Now, this follows the 2022 Memorandum of Understanding signed between government and the Church of Uganda to take over the university's assets and liabilities.
Government, through the Ministry of Education and Sports, has allocated over 23 billion shillings for the renovation of infrastructure necessary for the establishment of Busoga University as a public institution in the sub-region. The State Minister for Higher Education, John Chrysostom Moyingo, says this follows the 2022 Memorandum Agreement, in which the government took over the university's assets and liabilities from the Church of Uganda.
This commitment is clearly demonstrated by the allocation of over 23 billion Uganda shillings to offset legacy debts of the former private entity, to support the renovation of existing structures at Uganda campus, and equipping the university. When you go there, you say, looks good work. These are very significant public resources, and they underscore government's resolve to see this university established on a firm and a sustainable foundation.
This was during a consultative meeting of elders from the Busoga sub-region on the establishment of a public university in the region. It was also resolved to change the name of Busoga University. The meeting proposed 2 possible names, Busoga National University and Busoga Public University. The minister will present both options to Cabinet for a final decision. The former Vice President Specioza Wandera Kazibwe commended the government for taking over the university and urged that the process begin as soon as possible.
The chartering has steps. The minister has to take a paper to cabinet for approval before a regulation is tabled in Parliament, because the university already has a law under which it will operate. And then because now it has a name, it will be taken to Parliament. Subsequently, it will be gazetted, the name will be gazetted, and then the Council for Higher Education will make it a reality.
The third Deputy Prime Minister, Lukia Nakadama, also commended Minister Moyingo for efforts to renovate the university buildings. She further praised Busoga elders for working together to agree on a name change, which had delayed the university's opening.
Busoga National University, or Busoga Public University, or Busoga International University, one of the three names to be to be the name for our university in Busoga, so that we don't again go into the problems, the legal problems of the other university, which was there before, and yet it was a private university.
Jane Nyiramcha, Salongo Kasimante for UBC News.
Well, let's take another short break and then we'll return with our business segment.
When you don't use Momo, you get insulted by strangers. Save yourself from insults. Use the Momo app or dial *165 *3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
Timex Nutrition Center invites the people of Gulu, Lira, Soroti, and Mbale to attend health camps on the following days. On 21st April 2026 in Gulu City,
Boma Hotel.
On 22nd April in Lira,
Lira Hotel.
On 23rd April in Soroti,
Soroti Hotel.
And on 24th April in Mbale City,
Wash and Wheels Hotel.
All our old clients come for free medical reviews, as we also welcome new clients. Come and get to know what to eat according to your blood group and genotype to prevent and treat several ailments like blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many more. For more information, call us on 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. Timex, be your own doctor.
Are you looking for a home away from home? Then this is the place for you. My name is Chini Kaji, and welcome to Hotel Le Confidential.
With 84 comfortable rooms where you can relax and feel safe. Each room has a lovely view of green vegetation, Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and a tasty breakfast.
Children can have fun at our kids' water park and our kids' play area. You can also enjoy our world-class health club, spa, sauna, gym, boutique, and sky blue swimming pool.
Thank you for choosing Hotel Le Confidential, where every stay is unforgettable. Come and stay in comfort, right at home, today, tomorrow, and always.
Into the world of business, the 2026 Central Corridor Stakeholders Committee meeting in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, has called on member states to prioritize strategic infrastructure projects, enhance logistics systems, and improve efficiency, particularly at the port of Dar es Salaam. Let's see more in this report.
The 2026 Central Corridor Stakeholders Conference, also known as TACON, is aimed at promoting the utilization of the corridor, a critical trade artery for hinterland countries that depend on the port of Dar es Salaam. Held annually, TACON serves as a key consultative platform under the Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency, CCTTFA, bringing together public and private sector players to address trade and transport challenges.
We are happy to report to members that the Central Corridor is viable. The Central Corridor is available for them. The Central Corridor is functional. The Central Corridor is going well.
A major highlight of this year's meeting was the presentation of the 2025 Transport Observatory Report. The report indicates improved corridor efficiency, which has contributed to increased cargo throughput.
So there is an increase of 7 million metric tons. This demonstrates that the Central Corridor remains a trade corridor of choice.
The trend shows that in 2025, the average ship turnaround time was recorded at 12 days, which you can see it's an increase of 1.2 days from 2024, which was recorded at an average of 13 days.
Despite surpassing the 30 million metric tons mark for the first time, stakeholders raised concerns over persistent non-tariff barriers that continue to hinder seamless trade.
The importers, the exporters and transporters are reluctant currently to put more cargo on this corridor because of the absolute control.
I think through Chair and ES, you will help us advocate for the ESC members who are denied the licenses of operating as clearing and forwarding companies in Tanzania, because most of the companies here that have been operating as clearing and forwarding companies are not licensed this year.
Dr. Julius Byaruhanga of the Private Sector Foundation Uganda underscored the importance of complementary transport corridors for land-linked countries like Uganda.
As it stands now with Uganda, we use only about 3.2% of our cargo goes through the Central Corridor, which in our opinion we think is not right. It should be more than that.
He, however, expressed concern over delays in implementing critical infrastructure projects, citing the Mutukula Masaka Road as a key example.
You can't take 3, 4, 5 years constructing less than 80 kilometers of a road. It's really, it can't lead us to where we want to be as a country in terms of achieving the 10-fold growth strategy.
The conference concluded with a strong call for enhanced collaboration, commitment and accountability among member states to unlock the full potential of regional trade.
We are working hard to ensure that Dar es Salaam Port is real working as a hub for and a gateway for transport within our region.
Also, the Bagamoyo Port is coming. So you can see that there is a bright future in this corridor.
Dennis Igoa for UBC.
And into the world of sports, the Confederation of African Football is optimistic that Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania will deliver one of the greatest Africa Cup of Nations tournament in 2027, following a high-level meeting between CAF officials and representatives from the 3 host nations to assess progress of preparations, with further engagements expected before final declaration on full readiness.
This scale of an AFCON, I mentioned it's a journey. It's not a clear black and white thing. we're working with the host nation to make sure that those timelines are being respected. And so far, we have the level of commitment to have those timelines being ready. We work hand in hand to make sure that the delivery is done at the time that which we've all committed to. We are right now just readjusting and moving forward in terms of the plan. There is nothing new that we have to know about what needs to be done. Everyone is aligned on what the expectation is, and like I said, we're moving in the really right direction. Important also that I cannot stress enough is alignment on the deadlines, on the timelines, and the level of commitment we have from the three countries. Pamoja is incredible, and those are the ingredients that we need to move forward. Thank you so much. We have no plan or thinking or whatsoever of a point of no return. We focused on delivering within the timeline and to make sure that the tournament is going to be successful based on the critical aspects of what needs to be done. And we were going to have regular meetings to check, so we're not going to wait until August to even know what the situation is. And every week we're going to be following up. And also it's good to mention that even from this month, we have people that will be permanently based in each of the countries.
Looking forward to that. Of course, the tournament. Now, as we talk about golf, the I and the M Bank Serena 63 Golf Series is back for the 2026 season, promising a longer and more competitive calendar for the amateur golfers. Let's hear more.
The announcement was made during a press briefing held at the Lake Victoria Serena Golf Resort and Spa in Kigo, which is the official host for the series. This year's competition will run for 28 weeks under a full handicap Stableford format, where players accumulate points with only their best 18 rounds counting toward the final standing.
This is not just a once-off tournament that we're discussing. This is a 28-week series with 2 quarterly events. Today is the press release, and it's got some exciting quarterly events and the grand finale.
The format is designed to keep players engaged throughout the season for this series that are powered by I&M Bank.
I'm convinced that we are adding something tangible to golf in our support of this tournament. At I&M Bank, we're intentional about our partnerships that create meaningful touch points with our customers in spaces that they value and identify with.
Golfers must complete at least 6 rounds per quarter to qualify for the quarterly prizes, and a minimum of 18 rounds to compete for the grand prizes. The series will feature 3 major events scheduled for June 20th, September 12th, and the grand finale on November 14th.
As Theo has said, we are extremely excited to partner once again with the I&M Bank for the 63 series. This series embraces both our members and guest golfers. As Theo has said, the whole idea is to make our course open to all golfers. The reduced rate for the green fees should attract as many golfers as possible.
Winners will walk away with attractive rewards including golf memberships, Serena accommodation, and experiences across East Africa. Participation is open to both members and non-members at a registration fee of 63,000 shillings. The 63 in almost everything about the series reflects the course record as set by Kenyan Dismas Indiza in 2019 and adds legacy to the competition.
And that's all we had time for. Thank you once again for choosing us. My name is Patricia Lukoma. Mpango Dorothy Namyomba has been with us on sign language. Let's meet again at 10 o'clock. Bye-bye.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.